Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 71 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on July 19th, 2021. Man, how you guys doing? I'm doing pretty good. Recording this episode a couple of days early. I have some things to do this week. Kind of had to move this up a little bit. Move this recording up, but I'm going to publish it on Tuesday night, I think. So, when future you hears this, it should be, Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. There was a pleasant surprise, like right before I started recording this. I don't know if you guys if all of you listening are on Instagram, but there's an Instagram account called CBRN Art. So, like Chem Bioradiological Nuclear Weapon. I guess that's the acronym. But this guy or guys, they post these caricatures and cartoons and art, various weapon stuff, tactic stuff, things like that. And the dudes, I got talking with the artist Nathan this past weekend, and he, we were talking about something. I can't remember what we were talking about exactly. It's escaping me right now, but he ended up asking me, he's like, hey man, like, do you mind if I draw something? Mind if I draw you for one of these things? I was like, dude, that'd be awesome, dude. So he did. It turned out really, really good. It turned out really great. And he went ahead and he had just, I didn't even know when he was going to post it. And he ended up posting it right before I started recording this podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the graphic that he posted. I asked him if I could use it. He said, sure. I'm going to post it with the podcast. So you'll see it whenever this plays, and you'll have to check it out. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. Go check it out. Go check out his page. Their page there is CBRN Art. That's on Instagram, and I tell you what, talented guys. Really, the detail. I tell you what, man, just really, really good. Just really cool guy, intelligent guys. So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. And also, thanks to all of you who tuned into the Instagram lives this past Saturday night. That was fun. There were a lot of people on there. There were several manufacturers were on there. We had some different vendors on there. We had some PEW Science member manufacturers, member dealers, and also consumers. And just the public just kind of hopped on, and we, just did. It was basically like a live podcast, really, where you guys we were talking and you were asking questions. It was nice. I was having some whiskey, and it was great. I tried to save the live sessions we did because we did a couple of them, and then I realized that I had to share them to Instagram TV, the IGTV, immediately, because I learned that later that you have to do that because see I hit the download button instead. It doesn't let you share them later because it only lets you share videos below a certain time threshold, and we went like an hour in these things, and so it wouldn't let me do it. I was like, So I think unless you share it right away, because like when you do an Instagram live, when you're finished doing it, this little dialogue box comes up, and it gives you options. Like one's like share, one's download, one's something. And I was like, oh well, let me download it because I wasn't sure. I've never done it before, so I was like, well, let me download it. Then I'll like put a caption on it or something, and then I'll post it. I didn't realize that it wasn't going to let me do that. So it was weird. I was like, why isn't it letting me post it now? So that sucks because like there were a lot of great questions. But then I also discovered, and this might not be that bad. You know what I also discovered? It doesn't show the question, like it doesn't show the comments. So like, when you're watching an Instagram live and the comments are shown on the screen from the folks watching it, it doesn't save those. So like all you're going to see, you're just going to hear me, and then you're going to see me, but you're not going to see the comments. So I was like, that's lame. So I was seeing that too, and I was like, that's stupid. So maybe it's like you have to do it on a YouTube thing. So speaking of YouTube, this hearing impaired gentleman asked me a question the other day on Instagram, and he said, "Hey, like I can't listen to your podcast because, you know, I can't hear, and I consume my podcasts on YouTube because they add automatic subtitles." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I had never even considered that." And I told him, I was like, "Well, that's a great reason to put this podcast on YouTube, not with video, but just upload my MP3s with the background art and like a spectrum analyzer to like satisfy the YouTube requirements of video. And then, I'll just do it on, the J Situation YouTube channel that I have or whatever. I already have that. I just don't use it. Like it has been a minute. So I could just upload all the episodes to that, and then perhaps this gentleman and others like him could use it. I'll probably do it like I'll close the comments because I don't, or maybe I'll leave the comments open, but you just run a risk. You run a risk of those companies coming on there. See, they don't go to the website to comment, but if it's on YouTube, I promise you're going to get some tomfoolery. But then we could have the PEW Science Army do the policing. I don't have time to police YouTube. Trust me. Turn it into those Grantham comment sections. It's like a war zone. You ever watch the Grantham videos when he's like, "Get down in there in the comments and kill your mother," or something ridiculous? No, he doesn't say that. He would never. He's a nice man, Mr. Grantham, man. He would never do that. But you get my point anyway. But yeah, that was my first time doing the Instagram live with you guys. It was great. Plenty of great questions about silencers and suppressed weapons. And speaking of silencers, if you're looking for one, a great place to get them is from Silencer Shop. The J Situation podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop, the most efficient and intelligent way to purchase silencers, most likely. As a silencer consumer, Silencer Shop is not only my dealer of choice, but my infrastructure of choice. Okay, they've done a lot of cool stuff, like create an easy system that minimizes the likelihood of errors in your paperwork. They pioneered the use of the QR code on the Form 4, so the ATF agents, they can't. Those ATF agents, they're not exactly, they got a high workload. They got a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes they might make a mistake. Well, the Silencer Shop forms, they got a little QR code. The ATF agents can scan them in. They don't have to worry about fat fingering the data in. So assuming you entered everything right using the Silencer Shop kiosk, I hope you did. You should be all right. And that's one of the reasons Silencer Shop has grown. They continue to innovate and do things like that. They have a network of dealers nationwide where silencers are legal. Use their kiosk. You do your fingerprints there. You take a photo. You put it all in there digitally. It's all encrypted electronically and cuts down on errors. It simplifies your silencer purchasing process. You get money back guarantee. No transfer fees. No paperwork errors. Just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. And, I would be remiss if I did not mention that the J Situation podcast is also sponsored by PEW Science. That is my company, and we are pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating, the simplest and most accurate hearing-safe ratings for your suppressed small arms. They are based on true human sound perception. It's in Section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard. That's, you want to say, well, Jay, this suppression rating, what does that even mean? So I'll tell you what it means. Go to the website, pewscience.com, go to Section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard, and you will see what it means. Really succinct description of it there. The whole standard is going to walk you through gunshot noise, sort of like Wikipedia, but it's more entertaining if you like to shoot things, which you do. There are 7 parts. They're all on pewscience.com for you to read. If you haven't seen it, that's fine. I don't expect you all to read it all. It's just there for your reference. You don't need to sleep with it under your pillow necessarily, although you can. You can skip directly to Section 5, like I was saying, and see the suppression rating. It lets you know how silencers stack up in comparison to one another with regard to sound at the muzzle and at the shooter's ear. And it gives you a hearing-safe dose limit for the particular platforms on which the silencers are tested, directly tied to human perception. If the rating is higher, it sounds better. If it's lower, it sounds louder. That's all there is to it. You're not going to find this information anywhere else in the world. It's really hard to compute. And that's why we do it here at PEW Science. The 6th section of the standard, that's all the reviews. of all the silencers publicly shown to date. Go check them out at pewscience.com. If you don't want to look at those, because you're like, Jay, that's ridiculous. You have way too much information in there. Say, I got you found, no problem. Section 7, there's one table. Rankings. Sorted by suppression rating, or it's sorted by anything you want to sort by. It's got composite suppression rating, muzzle, and ear. So there's 3 different numbers there. You can read about what that means, and you can look at that to your heart's content. And you can filter. There's like filters for like weapon system and manufacturer and stuff and silencers. So knock yourself out. And if you do, and you're saying, you know what, I like those numbers. That's right up my alley. Tell me a little bit more about that silencer. Well, then there's a link in the table there to each review. Then you can click. Then you can dig in. Okay. Pretty simple. As always, if you are a manufacturer and you would like to use PEW Science for private testing and consulting services, there is a form on the website with which you can submit that inquiry. Your contact information and all test data will be held in strict confidence. That is just how we do things, okay? Unless for some reason you want to release it, which hey, it's your data, you paid for it. You know, you paid for the testing, you paid for the test program, the contract that we performed for you. In that case, you have then authorized our release if you so choose. You know, if you say, you know, Jay, we want to show this to the world, I say no problem. As my client, I will represent you the best I can publicly, and I will publish your data objectively to the world, and you know, put a little disclaimer on there just so everyone knows that this was funded by you, and people can view it. Now, that's there on the website. There's a couple of them that you've seen so far. More are coming, and so stay tuned for those. You can support this podcast, PEW Science, and our testing by joining with a membership at pewscience.com to help. You know, if you want to help fund the effort, there are it's pretty cheap, dude. It's like it's a monthly thing. You can cancel anytime. You definitely don't have to join. It's fine. You really don't have to, but if you do, it is appreciated because it does help. It helps keep all this going. You can also, you know, it doesn't cost you anything. You can rate the podcast good, and you can subscribe to it, follow it, and everything on the iTunes and all the different podcast thingies. And you know, that way we let all the podcast networks know that silencers and guns are awesome. And then you know, next time one of those awesome politicians tries to say that we don't need silencers, even iTunes is gonna be like, nah, son, pretty sure we do, because everyone likes to listen to talk about silencers, so why wouldn't we need them? This seems like good logic in my mind. Okay. How many topics do I have for you today? Okay, I think I have 3. Yeah. Topic 1, Sound Signature Review 647. The Griffin Armament Optimus on Supersonic 308. Technical discussion. Yeah, so we'll look into that. We will. Topic 2, listener questions from the Instagram Live Saturday night. I wanted to I'm gonna go ad lib crazy. I'm gonna scroll through the saved images from my Instagram stories on my phone, which with the questions that I answered, I'm just gonna like go through them so I can just pick some to talk about, because I feel like some of you missed this, and I think a lot of them were covered on the podcast, on the Instagram Live, and so a lot of you missed it. So I was like, I'll make you think like you were there. A little treat for you, just to help if some of you didn't see the questions and answers. And then topic 3. Welcome to all the new PEW Science members, you know, and welcome to all the R&D clients that help us continue this journey. Gearing up for some field testing, too, if it would if it would stop raining. I don't understand. It's the amount of rain doesn't make sense. It's highly atypical. So, oh man, where's my notes? I usually have a little. Here we go. Oh man, found it. Boom. Okay. Topic 1 at a time of 14 minutes and 16 seconds. Okay. I'm gonna write that. That handwriting doesn't look legible at all. Okay. Get some water. Okay, topic 1. Yeah, Sound Signature Review 647. The Griffin Armament Optimus on Supersonic 308. Technical discussion. Bet you didn't see this one coming, huh? Honestly, I thought I had tested this on both supers and subs, and I haven't. Turns out Turns out I haven't. Oops. Yeah, I was looking back through my test results, and I saw that the day I was going to test, the day I was going to test this on the minifix for 300 Blackout Subsonic, I ran out of time that day, and I didn't get to it. And so I was like going through my test matrix from that day. I was going through my spreadsheet, and I was like, okay, tested on this, okay. Then I got to 300 blackouts, and I was like, okay, tested that. And I scrolled down, and I was like, oh, dude, I didn't even test it yet on 300 blackout. No, I put total Homer Simpson. I was like, no, I was like, it sucks. I was like, oh man. And then I don't even have the silencer anymore. Like I had it. I had to give it back. It was like a loaner unit. So I was like, God dang it. Like the picture I took with it, I took pictures with it before I gave it back, like with a 308 round and a 300 blackout round, thinking that I tested it with both. Administrative brain fart, I guess. So yeah, anyway, so sorry guys. So I just have supersonic data for it for now. But I think it gives us a pretty good window into its performance. Okay, I do. So it's a pretty unique silencer in the way it works and what it can be adapted to do. Okay, so the configurations of the silencer alone, they're sort of maddening, really. You really have to, and I really do encourage this. You really have to look at the user manual to understand what it even does. This thing. I got the test sample a while back, and it didn't come with instructions. Like the people I got it from, didn't even have instructions in the box. And I was like, oh crap. So I Googled it, to see what the heck was going on. And there were pieces in the box that didn't make sense to me. I was like, what is this part? I was like putting it together. I was like you've seen that movie Zoolander where they're trying to get something out of the computer, and they're like, oh, it's in the computer, and they're like monkeys trying to I was looking at the silencer trying to put it together like a monkey. I was like, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, am I an idiot? I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are there all these parts? There's way more parts than I think there should be. I didn't understand that it can do as much as it can do. So it turns out when I Googled it, there's a configuration guide with caliber and barrel length information and everything in the manual on the website. There's a PDF, so you can find it online on Griffin Armament's website, and you download the PDF, put it on your phone or something, and have it have it as a reference. But I was like, what does this even do? And even in the manual, it doesn't have pictures of some of the stuff. I think, if I can remember correctly, I was like, wait, what? And so you really have to study it. This silencer is not simple. Because it just does so much. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can basically do anything from rimfire to 9mm pistol to 300 Win Mag with this thing, depending on the configuration. I'm talking 9mm pistol with an inertial decoupler, like a piston. Isn't that crazy? And it's and you can do 300 Win Mag. It's what? I mean, you have to use different parts. You can't just use that in the same configuration. You can't it's not just a thread adapter. Okay, there's actually components that you add and subtract to make it possible. So that's the key here. This is definitely a developed system. It's not just a thread adapter issue. You see some of these universal silencers that's it's just a big bore and you just change the back cap and you thread it on. That's not really what this does. It has some extra components. So what I tested and what you saw on the website in the sound signature review was the full size, the quote unquote full size version, which is 9.4 inches long, it's a configuration that uses the taper adapters. Okay, from Griffin, and they're it's the ones with the taper behind the thread type of thing that Griffin does. It's like other taper mounts but backward. I don't know why. It just is. The muzzle device I happened to use was the 2-port brake mount. Okay, that mount is no longer produced, but they do have similar mounts available. Still from Griffin. And one thing I noted in the article is that the section that accommodates the rifle blast baffle is called a blast shield. So the outer part of the tube, it's the tube extension. I guess you could call it a tube extension. Griffin calls that the blast shield. Okay. And so the blast shield I used in the test was the long one that you see in the manual. So it's the 9.4-inch configuration, okay? So since that test, since that production, and this is the Gen 2 Optimus, okay? This is Gen 2. But since that silencer was created, Griffin has recently stopped offering the long blast shield, okay? And now they only offer the minimalist blast shield to create the mid-size version of the silencer that you see in the manual there. And I think that's how long is that one? 7.9 inches instead of 9.4. So you lose some length, and you know what I mean. Okay, when you go to mid version. So in the article that I wrote, I put a disclaimer. I said, hey, I think the data that I gave you here is not going to be applicable with the minimalist blast shield because it's going to be shorter. Okay, shorter overall silencer, so it's probably going to be louder. Okay, it's probably going to be louder. So one thing that's unique about this silencer is that the blast baffle, the blast baffle in the rifle configuration, it's a 30 caliber bore. But the other baffles in the silencer are able to accept 9mm for pistols, right? So the baffle stack's overboard for 308, but the blast baffle's not. Okay, and that's a little weird. For a silencer in general, it's a little weird. Okay, it makes sense though, because for me, like when I was thinking about why Griffin would do that, it's like there wouldn't be a reason to make the blast baffle have a larger orifice if you're not using that long, because the blast baffle for rifles on this thing is really long, and it doesn't fit in the silencer when it's in this pistol configuration, and that's the purpose of the blast shield or the tube extension, right? The tube extension exists so that the blast baffle can be inside it, and it gives it an offset from the other baffles. Like that's, I think, the purpose, and to add some more gas expansion room. So that's kind of why Griffin did that, I think. That's my theory. And so, like, I guess, why not make it a 30 caliber bore, right? Because it's not used for anything else. And then, because like you take that whole thing off, and you take that tube extension with that rifle blast baffle, you take all that off when you're going to use it for pistol. You put your inertial decoupler thingy in there or something. Like I can't remember exactly how it all goes in, but yeah. So I don't remember if there's another extension for the. I don't know. I didn't test it on a pistol, but I will. So at that time, I'll figure that part out. Thing is crazy. I'm telling you, you open the box, you're like, what is all this? It's like a Rector set. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Do people still say that? Okay, metrics. Bottom line up front, 38.1 suppression rating. Okay, composite suppression rating on this weapon system, the 20-inch 308 Supersonic. Okay, 20-inch bolt action, 308 Supersonic bolt gun, 38.1 composite, 37.7 at the ear, 26 flat at the muzzle. Okay, that's typical full-size silencer territory, frankly. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And in a pinch, if you needed to use this on your centerfire rifle, it would absolutely work. It wouldn't be super loud. And, if it's the only silencer you had, it would be great for hunting. I think so. If it's the only silencer you had, you're using it on other stuff like your AR, your pistols or whatever, and you want to go hunting with it without hearing protection like a 20-308, go nuts. Go nuts. I mean, that's a good zone for a hunting silencer on a 308. It really is. It puts you in the Silencer Co. Omega territory, guys. It's putting you right there. Hyperion K territory, right there on a 308 bolt gun. That's what it's doing. Hey, let's go to section 7 real quick here. Yeah, you got on the website. Yeah, rankings. Open link in new tab. Boop 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 boop. Okay, yeah. So let's do that. Let's go. Let's in the table here. I'm going to go to. The easiest way to do this would be ammunition. Supersonic 308 only. Okay, boom. And then what I do is I sort ear suppression rating, sort descending, because you're a hunter, frankly. At the shooter 0 on a 20-inch gun, the hunting metric, that's a hunting metric for a lot of folks, right? If you're a hunter and you're probably going to be using you're like Supersonic 308, so that's how you're comparing these. I mean, that's how I would be if I were you. So you kind of want to stay in the mid 30s or above. I found for comfortable use in the field, like for deer hunting, for example, as a reference, like on a 20-inch, like mid 30s or above, that's a good reference for you for the silencer. And stick with me here. So if you're using it on a shorter barrel, like 16-inch 308, like I do, you're going to have a lower suppression rating at the ear due to the higher muzzle pressure coming out of the barrel because it's a shorter barrel, and the end cap's closer to your ear, right? Because it's 4 inches closer to your ear than 20-inch. 20 minus 16 is 4, so that's closer. And what happens when you get closer? Well, exponential increase. Slowly but surely, that you're really going to be driving that pressure pulse up. So, the amplitude of the entire waveform is scaling upward when it gets closer to you. That's just because there's decay as you move away. So if you start with like a 35, 37 or something at the ear on a 20-inch, I found for my own personal comfort that's kind of going to be the limit for me for on a 16. Because that's on a 16-inch, that's at the ear, that's where these same ratings for these silencers are probably dropping. They're dropping to around 30, right? You're probably losing 5 points or so. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I haven't measured it, but I'm guessing. You probably lose, not a whole suppression rating category, but you're losing a bunch of it when you move 4 inches closer and you have a higher muzzle pressure, depending on the silencer. Okay, depending on the silencer. Some silencers happen to handle higher pressure better. So for me, that's in and around there. So that's and with my own ears, that was validated with my through my experience with the Rugged Radiant versus the Hyperion K this past hunting season, right? Because it was like what? Like I went. It was like, what's the Radiant in the table here? The Radiant in the long configuration on Supersonic 308 on the 20-inch bolt gun, 32.5 at the ear. So if it was on a 20-inch bolt gun, okay, cool. 32.5 at the ear were, okay, cool. But the CGS Hyperion K was 37.1. So, okay, well, that's going to be quieter. And I noticed that the Radiant kind of hurt my ear when I went to a 16-inch barrel, the 308. Like not hurt, but it was like just the threshold of being uncomfortable to my ear, and my right ear's already damaged a little bit. And so I don't know if it was uncomfortable to me because my right ear's already damaged or because it's going to be uncomfortable to everyone. All I know is the 32.5 rating on the 20-inch, it's definitely lower on the 16-inch, and then I probably dropped below 30. And the 30 zone, it's not perfect, guys. Those suppression rating zones, they're not like a perfect delineation, but there's a reason why I cut them off in groups of 10 like that. And the 30 zone, I really think you want to stick around there as a minimum for hunting. Okay, and so for me, the 37 worked out with the Hyperion K. It just so happened 37 on 20-inch translates to somewhere that's okay for me on a 16-inch. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll test on a 16-inch. I'm sure I will. But right now, I don't have that number for you. So this Griffin, this is the roundabout point I'm trying to get to. The Griffin gets you 37.7 at the ear. Okay, it's quieter than the Hyperion K at the ear. Well, because it's... so I know it's going to be fine for hunting. It's longer than the Hyperion K. It's 9.4 inches long. The Hyperion K is like... How long is the Hyperion K? What if I click on the review? It's going to tell me that. Did I put that in the review? Come on, Jay. Yeah, 6.3 inches. Okay, so yeah. So the Hyperion K is 33% shorter, or you lose over 30% of the length of the Griffin, and you get the Hyperion K, and they're almost the same sound. So, well, there's that. Whatever. It's not about the Hyperion K. It's about the Griffin, and the point is the Griffin silencer is going to be fine for you for hunting deer. Yeah, the bolt action. It's good. So I hope this puts things in perspective for you as far as loudness goes. Okay, it's not this is not a short silencer at 9.4 inches long, but it's also a multi-use silencer, so you can use it on a pistol and stuff, and you can make it shorter for the rifle. Like in fact, like if you buy it now, there is no 9.4 inches. It's only the 7.9 and shorter. Okay. I think for rifles, you can't. You're stuck with one configuration now, and then if you take that off, it's all about your pistol with or whatever, or AR or something. Maybe I can't remember. I think there's a Halo mount. Maybe not a Halo mount. There's like an A2 flash hider mount for it or something. So I don't know. You can. That's up to you. That's not hard to figure out. You can go to the website Griffin Armament. They have a manual in PDF, like I was saying. It's pretty versatile, but it's not light, okay? Because it's over a pound. But it'll do in a pinch. If you, like I said, this is one of those multi-use things. What did we do? We talked about multi-use silencers last time, right? We talked about, well, what's the best, what's not. Well, this might not be the best, but it does work. Okay, it does work, and sometimes just working is important. If you're really looking to save money, sometimes stuff like this can. Let's be realistic. Sometimes it can be okay. I'd rather have you shoot with a silencer than with no silencer. Okay, so like that. If you look at it like that, I would rather you shoot a suppressed weapon, even if you're not getting the best thing. It would behoove you to shoot suppressed. Now, let's look at some more numbers. Get some water. Look at some more numbers. Okay. Look. Okay. No, actually, I'm gonna be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, let's look at some more numbers. Yeah, I think it's a technical discussion. We should probably do that. Let me maximize this window so I can look at my gobbledygook that I wrote. Yeah, no. 1 meter left of the muzzle, left of the end cap, you have 145.5 dB, 130.7 decibel millisecond impulse. That, again, I just, for completeness, I put them there because I need you guys to understand those true sound pressure and sound impulse peaks. But the suppression rating is really what matters. And at the muzzle, it's 26. 1 meter left of the muzzle, the sound signature hits 26 on the scale. Okay, so it's not the quietest, but as you know, if you ever shot a 308 suppressed, that's not the best place to be, but it's definitely going to protect your shooting partners. It definitely will. It's not the worst day for them. Trust me, it's way better than unsuppressed. And at the ear, 37.7, like we were saying. So that's pretty good. So if you look at the waveform in Figure 1, the first, it's the early time signature of the first shot, 1 meter left of the muzzle. Okay. It's a typical exit event. You see the bullet come out, it's, around the 140.4 dB this time. The bullet coming out, it pretty normal supersonic pulse out of the silencer with the end cap, pretty normal. And actually, if you go down to Figure 2A, you can see them all overlaid on each other. It's really consistent. I overlaid there. You see I do that a lot in the 308 reviews. That end cap exit event, you can see that thing. For all 5 shots, they're on top of each other, dude. Pretty consistent. Nothing funny going on. Nothing crazy. The primary jetting peaks almost to the level of the peak first round pop, but you get another wave and you do get peak first round pop happening after the first primary jet, which is not unheard of. It's fairly common. So there's not a lot in this signature that's crazy or different than a lot of silencers of similar suppression level. If you really look at the waveforms, this one's going to look a lot like the short version of the Rugged Surge. It's going to look like the Omega. It's going to look kind of like the Nomad. The silencers all have pretty similar flow restriction or mass flow rate, so pretty similar early time signatures. It's in fact, I was actually thinking about this the other day. When you look at the impulse curves, like in Figure 4A, when you look at the impulse curves, they look unremarkable. You ever been to the doctor, like you get like an MRI or something, God forbid. Maybe you have an injury, you fell down or you get in a car accident. They give you an MRI and they send you somewhere else to get the MRI. You go get one. You go back to the doctor. The doctor's going over the results with you, and you look at the little report from the imaging dude, and they're like, your spine in this region looks unremarkable. And you kind of look at the dude and you're like, what'd you just say to me? But you want that. You actually do. You want them to say that, because that means there's no remarks to be made. It means that you're not going to need surgery. Like, it looks fine. And that's, you know what I mean? So this is in stark contrast. Actually, this is in stark contrast with or to the Griffin Explorer review. Remember? Those impulse waveforms were not unremarkable. They were quite remarkable. I had many remarks to make about them. The original that Explorer silencer, completely different. First of all, because it's like tubeless, they're welded. This is not. This is a tube, and the baffles slide inside. Completely different. The Optimus and the Explorer are different, but they're both Griffin. And the original Explorer thing had EcoFlow baffle geometry. That's Griffin's name for their patented baffle shape, where they take a curved cone with a clip or a mill cut, and then they also notch a hole really close to the bore line. It's a big old vent. So, the Explorer had a big old vent right near the main hole of every baffle. Well, the Optimus has EcoFlow Gen 2 baffles, a little different. And I don't know all the different, frankly. I haven't examined them closely, like side by side, to really understand all of the differences that Griffin made in the iteration, because I know they did a lot of tweaking. But they are different. And the Explorer, what we know from the data is that it pulsed gas too much. It was not, the flow was not uniform enough. It was aggressive. And what that did was it caused us a really harsh sound to your ears. It was loud. The Optimus sounds much, much, much better. Much better, dude. It's a different world. It's not even comparable, really. I mean, for one, they're like complete different silencer lengths, and they're completely different sizes, but the sound signature is completely different. Completely different. It's over a suppression rating category difference at the shooter's ear, which is weird. Okay, I know the silencers aren't really comparable, but the baffle changes, I think they help, dude. I do. Now, what's really interesting is that the first round pop isn't even extreme to the shooter. Which is interesting, and it's really actually hard to perceive for the shooter with this silencer on that gun. It's hard to perceive it. This silencer works. I mean, it's pretty long. It's a long silencer. It's 9.4 inches long. It's the size of like a Hyperion in length. Okay, so that might be one of the reasons why the first round pop is not bad, because it's so long. But it works. It does. And for all of you who own an Optimus and want to use it on your hunting rifle or something, go for it, dude. Go for it. It's going to work for you. I mean, the data shows it's going to work for you. Okay? Which is great news. It's great news. I was pleasantly surprised when I did the analysis. I was like, you know what? Awesome. I was like, Griffin's EcoFlow baffles, man. When we did the Explorer, I was like, oh man, what's going to happen with this Optimus? I was like, oh, I don't want to release another review that's going to show that it sucks. Like, oh my gosh. Like, not that the Explorer sucked necessarily, but come on. Like, it was really loud. It didn't make sense. I was like, that shouldn't be that loud. There's no reason for it to be that loud. And it was. I was like, it hurt. I was like, oh man, I have to show. Like, I don't have a choice. I can't hide it. So it sucks. I hate when a silencer doesn't perform like at all like I think it should. And this one, I feel like Griffin kind of pulled it out. I know it's a long one, long silencer, 9.5 inches long, but hey, it works. Now, when you do the minimalist blast shield to make it tinier, shorter, is it still going to be okay for you hunting? Maybe. It might be. I don't know. I really don't want to. I hesitate to make that conclusion because I really don't know. I have to test it because I know strange things can happen when you change silencers. I really do know that. That's for sure. Okay, so I don't know. I guess to close that point, I really wish I knew what would change, but I don't. And it's going to be louder. I just don't know how much louder, because it's going to be louder because it's closer to your ear, and it's going to be louder because the gas dynamics will change. So we'll see. One thing that is interesting about this silencer is the back pressure. or the back pressure generated by the silencer, the Omega metric's 0.26. So it puts it into Omega Zone 5, sort of the middle of the road. Sort of the middle of the road of flow restriction. This is like the short surge, like I was saying earlier, short surge, Nomad, Omega, kinda. But it's over 9 inches long. Okay, so why is it lower back pressure than the other long silencers? Well, because it does have a lot of flow area. For one, you got those ports in the EcoFlow baffles, for one. Two, one thing I do think makes an impact in the back pressure and the flow restriction is the change in diameter for the blast baffle orifice and the other baffles. But I think it gets pretty complex due to the geometry. I think if you didn't port this, and here's the thing that I want to say, and I don't know if you really think about what happens when you change diameters, when you go up in diameter or when you go down in diameter. I think it can be disastrous to flow. And I think that if Griffin didn't have those ports in these baffles, when they expanded a 9mm from the 30 caliber bore, I don't think you'd see this back pressure reduction like you do. I think the EcoFlow baffles are required to do this. I don't think you could just step from 30 bore to 9mm bore and have the back pressure reduction that Griffin gets. I think that Griffin gets more with the EcoFlow. I think they do. You could test this. I mean, Griffin would have to, because they would have to machine baffles with that. Maybe they have. I actually haven't really spoken with them about it, but you know what I mean. So don't go thinking, oh, well, let me just make a 30 caliber blast baffle and make all my other baffles bigger, and I'll reduce my back pressure. You probably will reduce your back pressure, but what you're also going to do is you're going to do other weird stuff. And I think if you don't port right, you're going to have a bad time. That's what I think. Whether that's a weird frequency effect or a weird pulsing effect or accuracy, I don't know. I think there's a lot of. I think the silencers actually. It seems to me it's pretty complicated, because I feel like what they did could really screw it up, and I think the fact that you see Gen 2 EcoFlow baffles, I think is a testament to that, because clearly they were like, oh, okay, maybe we could make this better, and they did. So that's cool. It's a little bit of speculation on my part, but it's also based on data and what I see, and just an educated guess, I guess. So yeah. So all in all, this is not, this really wasn't a complete characterization for the EcoFlow baffles yet. I don't think we're done with these. I want to know more about them. It's deceptively simple, but it is complicated. I think it looks simple, but I think the behavior is complicated, and I think that we're getting close to understanding them, but I want to know more, and I think that's going to require more testing. I need to test the silencer again with a smaller blast chamber. I need to evaluate it on subsonic rifle. I need to test it on a pistol. And I need to test it on a 5.56. Okay, so stay tuned for future evaluation of the Griffin stuff and their EcoFlow baffle. Shout out to Austin Green and Griffin Armament. They actually discussed part of this publicly with me on the ARFCOM thread. I made a thread on ARFCOM about this. Austin came into the thread. He thanked me. It was very professional. It was fine. I respect him for that. That was cool. And thanks to his team, I reached out to them on social media. They helped me out. They helped me understand the availability of the parts and what was changing, what didn't, and that was really good of them. And they definitely were easy to get a hold of. So that was cool. So when I had to write those disclaimers in the review, that sucked. Because I had to do that. I had to do that at the 0 hour. I didn't know until I had checked with them that week, and I was like, oh, hey, Griffin, by the way, I'm going to review your silencer. So it's going to be live on Thursday. Let me know if you have any questions. They were like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I told them more, and they're like, oh, well, we don't even sell it like that anymore. And I was like, what? So I had to do call an audible and completely change or not change, but I had to, make sure my annotations in the review were very, very exact, and I had to put those disclaimers in there. So that sucked. Okay, that's all for that topic. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're 45 minutes, and what did I say? Okay, so topic 2. Let's see. Topic 2, a time of 44 minutes and 47 seconds. Okay, so what did I say? We're going to do listener questions, right? So, yeah, I think we have some time. So, I'm telling you guys, I thought, so this was listener question. I was going to do listener questions and the Instagram live from Saturday night because I thought I had saved, like I told you guys, I thought I had saved that first live. And then I was wrong. I ended up saving one of them, and it was the one after dinner. And a lot of you and I, I had, some libations, and so some of you did too. And we went over an hour again, and Instagram won't let me post it because it's too long, and and the IGTV doesn't let you post it after the fact, and it's a whole thing. If it's over a certain time period, so. I'm trying to remember a lot of the questions I got. And so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go to my phone right now, and I'm going to look at the Instagram questions. And I'm going to go through a lot of them, like from the Instagram stories that are saved to my phone, because a lot of that same stuff was asked during the live. So, and if I remember anything, as this jogs my memory, because it'll take me back, I'll just cover it here. Okay, so this is gonna be rapid fire. Like usually, we go into our spreadsheet and we're really organized. We're really exact and organized, and we reference things, and I blah 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 blah, and I thank you for your question and everything's. This is not going to be like that. This is going to be more. This is going to be more fast. Okay, I'm scrolling. I have way too many albums on my phone. Hold on. Freaking Android saves everything in the world. Instagram. Boom. Oh, God. And I put 100,000 things. Oh, these are videos. Come on, man. Okay, this is not as easy as I thought. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's see. What would it be a good place to start? I know what we'll do. We'll work. We're not going to work backward. See, because I did a lot of. You guys, I will say, what you guys did? You guys broke Instagram. I did questions on Saturday. You guys asked so many questions, and I posted them that we hit the story limit in the story question thing. So it started deleting from the back, and we lost the question asking thing because you asked so many. I think is it 100? I think 100 might be the limit. I don't know what the limit is, but you guys actually broke it. That's why we're getting too big for Instagram questions. I don't know how these companies do it. I see. Who does these a lot is Q. Or they used to, at least. They used to. Because they don't do that a lot anymore. But they used to do them, and they just must not have got as many. Because I'm doing these, and I every question I get, I answer. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're choosing. That makes sense. Not everyone's going to answer everything. Okay, so let's just go through them. When is 556 data coming? Oh, well, when it comes. How are you? Congrats on the engagement. Well, I'm very good. Thank you. My engagement is great. My fiance is wonderful. I'm very busy, but I'm good. E-brakes. That's right. A gentleman asked, my thoughts on the dead air e-brakes. What I told him was that they vent gas, which in theory should create vectors of thrust. And those thrust vectors at the end of your gun, they counteract the undesirable recoil kinematics. So imagine a muzzle brake or a compensator. How there's it's directing thrust, and your gun is going to recoil. Your gun kind of wants to hop a little bit. Well, if you have thrust, it's gonna act against that hop, so it's gonna feel a little better to you. It's gonna feel a little better to you. It's similar to the Harvester from Silencer Co. Has the anchor brake. Well, the dead air is the e-brake. Now, I think on systems like this, and I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be true. I think what happens is when you have a really high pressure rifle, like a 300 Win Mag or something, I think you're going to notice it more. I think the more pressure you force through the can, well, there's going to be more thrust counteracting. I think it's going to make the system more efficient. I think if you're shooting 5.56, it's not going to matter as much. It's not like it's like a war comp unsuppressed where you have direct gas thrust. No, it's a silencer, so you're gonna have to really have a long combustion duration and pressure to really force through the orifice in the silencer and really finally get to that e-brake and really pressurize it and then force that thrust out of those holes. You really need to work it. I think you need to work it. You know what? I bet you. You know what would be really cool? I bet you if you took a Nomad TI and you put an e-brake on the end of it and you put it on a 300 Win Mag, I bet you that would be a really good combo. And I don't know if that's true, but I'm just guessing. Like, I know how well the Nomad TI does on Supersonic and how light it is, right? And then you might be thinking, oh, well, it's really light. It's going to make the recoil suck. But I was like, well, what if you put an e-brake on it? You know, would that help? Would that help the recoil? Now, would it make it louder? Well, you know, Dead Air seems to say it makes it quieter, but I don't. They keep saying that. And, like, I know they say it meters quieter with their peak dB, according to Todd. And I know Pappas has said it, but I mean, you know, if Mike's saying that it meters lower, he must also think it sounds quieter. He's not the type of person to say something based on just data that doesn't make sense. Like, he's a reasonable person. So I don't know. I mean, there might be, if the e-brake sounds quieter, to me, it's not because of less pressure. It's because it's either redirecting it in a way that is like just it's delayed, or it's changing some kind of frequency component. And the only way for me to understand this is to test it, guys. I can't begin, because like my inclination would be, whoa, well, it acts like an anchor brake on a silencer kill rifle silencer and it makes it louder and sucks. That's what I would think. But then people say, well, I heard it's quieter. I'm like, what? Anyway, so all right, next question. Okay, that's irrelevant. Oh, here's a good one. Does a lever action run dirty when suppressed, or is it the same since the action is closed? You know, that I thought this was a really great question, because I don't think a lot of people understand. That's a really great question. Let me read it again. Does a lever action run dirty when suppressed, or is it the same since the action is closed? And so the way I answered this person is that I said that the flow restriction induced by a silencer will prevent the full expulsion of combustion products from the system. And that's true. Whenever you fire a weapon, remember when we looked at the sequence of events that happens when you fire a weapon? First you had precursor flow, and then you had the various different types of flow. You have precursor flow, and then you'll have a primary. You have the bullet exit, then you'll have the primary jet, and you might have some other flows depending on the barrel length and the velocity of the cartridge, but all that stuff gets trapped in the silencer first. Okay, and so there's lingering combustion products that don't get to be completely expelled from the barrel, and what ends up happening is they get lodged in nooks and crannies in your gun. And so what you're going to have to do with a bolt action rifle that has a detachable magazine, you know, with a lever action gun, with any of these guns, they have closed chambers, but you're going to have to clean them more. Okay? You're going to have to clean the guns more. And that's the way quiet guns work with a silencer. Okay? Unless you have like an OSS or something that's going to flow so freely that it's not going to have any, well, it has some back pressure, but you know, unless you have one of those, you're gonna have to clean more. Just deal with it, dude. If you want a quiet gun, it's gonna be dirtier. There is no free lunch. There's a way to get it quieter than unsuppressed and not be as dirty. But if you want quiet, there is no free lunch. There is just not. And whenever someone figures it out, let me know. I haven't seen it yet. Irrelevant. Oh, someone was asking, what flash hider is that in the image? I actually showed a CGS left-hand thread taper mount flash hider, like the Xeno from Dead Air, but smaller. It goes on some proprietary CGS stuff that's not out and may not ever be out. Oh, some guy asked me thoughts on the Fat Boy gas tubes and how does the reduced gas velocity help with suppression? Yeah, so I didn't know what it was, and some people DM'd me and they were saying that they have these gas tubes that change diameter that go into a larger cross-sectional area. Well, and so what that would do, it would decrease gas velocity, right? Because when you go, and here's one thing people don't understand, and they forget. When you increase or decrease diameter of a flow orifice, like dynamically, like let's say you have like a pipe and there's like a pressure pulse going through it, and then you increase the diameter, well, your velocity is gonna change, right? Your velocity is gonna go down. Well, what else is gonna happen? You're gonna reflect a pressure wave the other way due to the velocity change. So there's all kinds of like dynamic pressure artifacts that occur and so, dude, I don't know honestly what happens. It depends, dude. So the question was thoughts on it. How does the reduced gas velocity help with suppression? It might help because it might send less gas impulse to your carrier, so it might delay unlock if it does anything. The only thing that's going to help you is delaying unlock. Other than that, there's no help for the gas system. Forget it. There's all this crap. It's a means to an end, guys. Gas port size, adjustable gas block adjustment, Fat Boy gas tube, BRT gas tube. It's a smaller orifice size. All you're doing is changing the impulse at the carrier key. Figure it out. You can do that by putting you can get a ball valve and install it on your freaking upper receiver, dude. Like, I know a company did that before. It's called a war upper, or something like, no, what was it called? It had a little switch on the upper, on the driver's side, and on the port side. And it had a little, what was it, like a 90 degree, 180 degree switch. And I think what it did was it cut off. It was like a little valve for the gas tube, is what it was. So like it's just another place to adjust your gas. Like adjust at the barrel, adjust it at the gas block, adjust it at the receiver, adjust it by changing the type of gas. Whatever you're doing, dude, all you're doing is changing the impulse. You're changing the pressure time curve at the carrier key. So how do you help with suppression? You keep the system closed as long as you can on the AR. How do you do that? Get your gas dialed in right. How do you do that? All the methods we just talked about. All right, cool. Is direct thread better than attaching a muzzle device on a suppressor? I you know what? In some ways it is. In some ways it's not. The benefits of direct thread: simplicity, flow rate. What did we just talk about with flow rate? What did I just say about flow rate? What happens when you change diameter and do all this stuff? You're creating artifacts in the flow field. When you just flow into the silencer just from a bare muzzle, it's clean, bruh. You're not like cutting jet cutting your baffle and stuff. So that's cool. Alignment can be better because you have less pieces. Durability may be better depending. I mean, how many silencers have we seen fail lately because a dead air mount fails in the silencer? Someone on ARFCOM, dude, like someone had a dead air chemo, and their chemo failed and like blew out the front of their resonator from YHM. I was like, dude, YHM shouldn't have to pay for that. Dead air should pay for that. Wasn't that crazy? I thought that was crazy. The drawbacks to direct thread, well, silencer swapping in a pinch is going to be harder. And I've said it again and again. I've switched silencers in the field for hunting because I only had like a couple rifle silencers with me, and I wanted to use them on my gun, on two guns, and so the QD, man, the rugged QD was one I've used, so that's a real case. Anyway, and if you want to shoot unsuppressed, it's kind of sucks to shoot with a bare muzzle, but don't shoot unsuppressed. That's dumb. Oh, here's a good question. KAC QDC cans. What do you think of them? Thank you. Well, you're welcome, sir. I'm intrigued by the mounting system, dude. It's almost like an air hose disconnect. It has little ball bearings in it. Everyone that I've talked to, which has not been a lot, but everyone I've talked to about them said they don't get stuck easily and they mount pretty easily. I asked the pre-sample depot dude. What's that guy? Oh, I forgot it. I don't know his name. Pre-sample depot guy, what he thought about him. He said he likes it. I was like, that's cool. So I'm excited. Look at it. I'm sure I'll test them if I can find one. They're like nowhere to be found. I'm gonna have to dig into the PEW Science member volunteer silencer repository. Have I shot the AEM5 or the Ops Incorporated? And what do I think? In a land far away, a long time ago. It's an old silencer. I need to talk to Ron. That reminds me. Oh, here's one about Q. That was a good question. Heard rumors of Q mounts deforming under heavy use. Why is that? So, first of all, it's a rumor, so I don't even know. I can't confirm or deny, but no, I don't know. I told the guy if it deforms under heavy use, it's probably because you got plasticity. So, like, it got hot, you kept loading it, and it bloomed or something. You probably expanded the metal. It was probably like way too hot for its use. So it was probably, I would guess, dude, if I had to guess, it was on a short barrel 5.56 and someone was like, I'm going to shoot my trash panda on a Mark 18. And everyone's like, no. You know what I mean? Oh, the dog, the dog came out. She thinks I'm like, I'm okay. Hey, baby, I'm okay. Dog came whimpering to me. She thought I was in trouble. I would be if I was shooting a trash panda on a Mark 18. Yeah, it's not a good day for your trash panda. It's fine in limited use, but the cherry bomb is not for that, dude. It's a simple mount to keep the silencers, those titanium silencers aligned, guys. Don't go, oh, I have a full auto Mark 18. Let me put a cute trash panda on it. What? It's a 10.3 inch 5.56. That's a half the barrel length of an M16. And you're going to put a titanium silencer on the end of it that is, it's going to survive because of the cherry bomb. But then if you're doing mag dump after mag dump, it's not built for that. It's not built for that. It's not the type of silencer. It's conventional cones. Okay. And that cherry bomb, it's thin, dude. It's made for lightweight alignment. 300 blackout. Different animal, dude. Different animal. That short barrel 5.56, it's not. This is stupid because this whole topic or this whole question is based on a rumor. Because unless we know exactly what the firing schedule was, it's kind of hard to tell. So this person is asking, why is that? Well, my answer is because it was pushed beyond its design parameters. That's why. Q has certain design parameters, and someone pushed it past the design parameters. That's the reason. Okay. Person says, I know you have tested the QD Helios. Have you tested the direct thread version, the Helios DT? I have. You haven't seen it yet. But I have tested that. What is your favorite QD mount for the CGS Helios QD? Direct thread for now, for a lot of reasons. Ever considered a YouTube channel? I'm not that big into podcasts. No offense. Well, none taken, I guess. But I guess you're also not hearing this. A-hole. No, just kidding. Wait, let's all talk about him because he's not going to hear it. No. Yeah, I've thought about it. And I think I talked about it at the beginning of this episode. I think I'm going to do one just so I can have the hearing impaired folks have subtitles. That's the why. Now, there are a few reasons why I don't do it other than that. And I, at the time, the guy had not, so this is I gave a different answer when I answered this guy. The few reasons why I don't do it, one is time. I'm not a YouTuber, dude. This is a professional engineering consultancy. I don't have time to dick with YouTube. I already dick with Instagram enough. This podcast, I don't have time to get YouTube too. That's like, I'm not going to do videos and, maybe later once I start doing this full time, I'll get on a whiteboard and I'll I'll give you Silencer 101 classes, like no problem. But right now, it's my time is better spent getting data out there. Trust me. Second reason, YouTube owns it, dude. I'm not about to let YouTube control me. If I put this on, if I put these on YouTube, these podcast episodes, you better believe it's gonna be super like boom. I'm just gonna do the same thing I'm doing now, and I'm gonna just upload them in a template, and it's gonna be easy. Like I'm not gonna put any work into it, like because YouTube will. You're gonna put all that work into a YouTube channel, and they can take it away from you tomorrow. I am not even. That's not even on in my philosophy of life, dude. That's so far away from my philosophy and how I live my life. That like I would never work at risk like that. That is an unwise decision. That is unwise. Like they'll just be like, well, we're deleting your channel now. You're teaching people about weapons, and that's not right. Dude, they'll. It doesn't matter if it doesn't go against their terms and conditions. They'll make it go against their terms and conditions. They'll just twist it. It's their right. It's their platform. They own it. They can do whatever they want to you. Like the Instagram accounts could be deleted tomorrow. Like, but they're not going to delete my website. I mean, I'm not Alex Jones, am I? Could be. The third reason is by the way, I have a YouTube channel. I just don't use it that much. The third reason why I don't use YouTube a lot is because anonymous shills go on there. And, they troll. Like the silencer dealers, the distributors, the manufacturers, dude, they're all on YouTube. And I tell you what, they have operatives that work for them or are associated with them. Some of them are in cahoots. And if you have a platform that's public and anonymous, they will go on there and they will cause problems on purpose to try to like spread misinformation. And when you go to pewscience.com, there ain't nobody on there. You can put my website's public. You can put comments on all the reviews, but there are no comments. There's like a couple comments here and there, and then I'm able to answer, and like no one comments. So I'm like, okay, well, don't comment then. Everyone's free to comment. No one ever does. It's weird, right? Yeah, it's not weird. Here's a really great question. I'm really glad this person asked this. What steps have to be taken to tune a Mark 18 to host a high Omega can like the Helios? Okay, what a great question, because this right here showed me some misunderstanding by the community. And it really highlights the importance of you guys asking me questions, and I loved it. I really love this. This is awesome. So, the Helios QD, it does. You know what? I'm going to pull up the website, so I'll go through this exercise with you in real time, so we can go through it together. We're all going to learn together. Okay? So I clicked on reviews. I'm going to scroll down. I think it's 640, right? Yeah, research supplement, public article. I'm on the public reviews. Sound signature. Review 640. It's a research supplement. It's not really a review. The PEW Science Omega back pressure metric. Okay, so I pulled it up. I'm going to scroll down. This is the mathematical derivation of it to prove to you that it's not made up by me. Well, it is made up by me, but to prove to you that there was some method to my madness. Now, in figure 2 here, it's not an exhaustive list, but it does have a lot. And the Helios QD with a solid end cap is a 0.52 Omega metric, and it's right above. It's like in between a Sandman TI and a long surge, and a Richmond Tactical 30 Ti, which is similar to a surge. Okay, cool. So it's lower than a surge, less back pressure than a long surge. Okay, but more than a Sandman L. Okay. Now, all of these silencers we're talking about right now are 30 caliber silencers, so they have a big bore through them. You ever put a Sandman L on a Mark 18? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And for that matter, neither is a Helios QD. Neither is a Rugged Surge. It's a it's a Mark 18. It's 5.56. So just make sure that you have like an H2 buffer at least, dude. And make sure if your Mark 18 has the 0.070 inch diameter gas port, it's going to be way better than if it was an older Mark 18 with a way big gas port. Then you're going to have an issue because your gun's already overgassed, way overgassed. Okay. Now, so try an H2, try an H3. Okay. You shouldn't have to do a ton of stuff on the Mark 18. These are now you go to like a 5.56 RC2 or like a Saker, like a 5.56. Well, 5.56 board, like a small bore silencer, like you put like a YHM turbo on there. Well, that's different. Okay, that's different. So don't be comparing the 5.56 bore silencers to the 30 bore silencers. So the Helios QD on the Mark 18, it's not the worst. And you know what you could also do with the Helios QD? You could also use a vented end cap too. And I think Josh and the folks at CGS are actually going to release some vented end caps for the Helios that, like, you have the solid one that comes with it, and it also comes with a pretty aggressively vented one. I'm pretty sure they're going to release some vented end caps that are like intermediate vents, so you can actually tune the venting and tune the back pressure of the silencer. So, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So that's dope, dude. Like, just wait for that. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. You know what I want to do? I almost want to take my Inconel Helios out and just like go insane on it. Just because, like, I just want to, like, I don't know. I've been doing it with the titanium one, but sometimes you just want to like be irresponsible. Just want to like nonstop back-to-back 60-round drum, full auto, just like a maniac. Anyway, how much time do we have? Okay, I'll do a couple more. I mean, there's so many questions. I could do hours on this, dude. I could do hours. Like, seriously, you give me one question from you guys, I'll talk 10 minutes at least. I mean, I'll talk all day about silencers. Like, you gotta cut me off at some point. So here's one. Your podcasts are super eye-opening. I've learned a lot. Thanks, Jay. Well, that's great to hear. That's not a question. Okay. Here's a... You know what? Who asked this? This is from Riley at HK. This is a good question. Is a silencer that heats... I think this is Riley, if I remember correctly. Is a silencer that heats up faster than others, given the same round count, expected to be quieter? So let me say that a different way. So he's asking, if you have two silencers and you fire them, like, let's say you fire 30 shots through both of them, and one of them heats up faster than the other one, is the one that heats up faster quieter? I told him that was a really great question. I think the reason why he was asking it was because, well, I think there's a couple of reasons why you're asking, Riley. One of the reasons I think you're asking is because you're trying, well, one, you could be wanting to know if there's another metric you can measure sound with, maybe put some thermocouples and look at the rate of temperature rise. Another reason, or to correlate it with sound rather, another reason why you may think it's because you think, well, is there more interaction with combustion gases in the silencer? And if that's a primary sound suppression mechanism, like that is heat dissipation out of the flow, that energy transfer to heat like if you're stripping heat, if you're using heat transfer to dump energy or change where energy is a silencer that's quieter going to be heating up faster because it's transferring more energy in that mechanism? And the answer I gave you on Instagram was, for some designs probably, but for some designs maybe not. And I think it's a function of the surface area interaction with the gas, and I think for how long it interacts. But I also think some silencers are doing other stuff, and some silencers have hot zones that some others don't have, and some silencers have different construction inside, and that's going to affect heat transfer. Okay, so I think it's a really great question, and it's something actually that bears study. I think that we could probably take the silencers that we have, shoot them on a 5.56 on a semi-auto instrument with thermocouples, chart the temperature rises, correlate that with suppression rating. We could probably do that, and you might find loose correlation with some designs and others would be outliers. That's what I would expect. I think your trend might be a general trend that's direct. You might have a trend that is proportional with a constant, and then you'd have to figure that out. But I don't know, like, if it'd be linear or not. And then for some designs, there'd be vectors. You know what I bet you, Riley? You know what I bet you, dude? I bet you'd have different curves with different slopes and coefficients. And so, like, if you plotted, I don't know, like a curved cone mill cut, and then you plotted like a Nomad, and then you plotted like an Omega Baffle, and then you plotted like a Hyperion, and then you plotted a Thunder Beast, and you plotted a Q, like, and variations of those same designs in like different lengths and stuff, and on 5.56, and then you took suppression rating at the muzzle or composite or whatever you want. Like, I just say suppression rating at the muzzle, and then plot it versus rate of temperature rise on each silencer type. I bet you end up with curves, and I bet you they aren't the same. Okay, that's my answer to that. Everyone like that isn't technical is like, what is he talking about right now? It's like, it's fine. Like, there was no other way to explain that at the speed at which I had to. Here's a question. When am I buying a helmet mounted thermal setup? I know you, sir. It's when I get enough time to properly research it, man. I'm so busy, dude. If I bought one right now, it'd be wasted. I'd be sitting here looking at my dog with it. So. Oh my God. You know what? It sucks because I'm like scrolling through these questions and there's so many good ones and we're already an hour and 16 in. I'll do some more. Oh my gosh. You guys are awesome, dude. The amount of knowledge transfer that's happening right now. Do you guys realize the utility of what we're doing? It's ridiculous. Any alternatives to the Faxon 11.5-inch mid-length? It's impossible to find. Also, alternative to the Surefire OBC? Good question. Regarding the Faxon, there's a couple. Hey, this one dude, I forgot his real name. He runs a meme page and his name's fake. It's like it's not Drew Hopkins from the TRX Arms. It's Drew Hopkins. But now he has a different name because his backup account. Hold on, dude. Go to Instagram, search for his dang thing. You guys are your fake names. Drew. He's a good guy. Oh, it's still... Oh, he's back. Because he got his account back. Yeah. Maybe he doesn't... Maybe. Yeah, Drew Hopkins. So it's like... Instead of Drew Hopkins, it'd be like... Instead of the S, it's a TH. I don't understand. Anyway, this dude knows a lot about barrels and stuff. And he was telling me that there is some people that make Criterion or something, or I don't know. I was just telling this guy to find a barrel maker that'll auxiliary gas port close to the muzzle, like Mostec can do it. MOSTEK. Regarding the OBC, it's a specialized product. It is, and so it depends on your goals, dude. If you just have a semi-auto gun, mil spec and H3 is going to be the same overall mass. So play with that if it works for you. I wouldn't go into the bootleg bolt carrier groups and stuff. The LMT enhanced carrier is pretty good. It gets you the cam path. It does have aggressive venting though, so be aware of that. I can measure it in PSoft, but it may not matter. Sound is not necessarily going to change with this, just so you know. But between mil spec and H3 is not necessarily going to be different sound to you than a Surefire OBC. Okay, I know that for a fact on the 11.5. Oh, here's a good question, and I think we're gonna end on this one. Already have a Q Trash Panda. Your review has me wanting a Nomad TI for hunting. Worth it or no? Trash Panda for ARs? And I told this gentleman, the Nomad TI and the Trash Panda are completely different silencers. I said performance-wise, dude, the Nomad TI is quieter, dude. Like in everything. Nomad TI is quieter in everything. Trash Panda might be more accurate and durable. We know that. The Nomad TI, several people told me about accuracy. We know the Trash Panda is probably more durable, even though it's titanium. The cherry bomb is going to help it. Now, if you put a cherry bomb on the Nomad TI, maybe you help a little bit. But still, man, the Nomad TI, I don't even think the wall thickness is as thick as the Trash Pandas. It might be. It might not be. But for very high pressure, not under high temperature, but very high pressure, the Nomad TI does very well. Like for Magnum rifles. So I don't know, man, it's a tough choice. I mean, Nomad TI is probably for a hunting rifle. I think if you can get it accurate, you know what I would do? I would find a guy with a Nomad TI, let him try to shoot groups with it. Shoot groups with it on your gun. And if it's accurate, buy one. That's what I say. So, I don't know. Buy whatever you want, but I mean, that's, I guess, comparing the Trash Pan and the Nomad, I just, if you had Subsonic 300 Blackout, Trash Pan is fine. For hunting, if you had an option between the two, man, if it wasn't for that, I want to keep talking about accuracy because I don't have data on it and it's not right. But I hate to steer you to it and then you're like, well, I can't group. It can't be that bad though. Man, someone's got to solve that problem, dude. I want Dead Air. Dead Air needs to put out a test or something. They should be like, here's some groups at 500 yards with our Nomad TI. And people are like, okay. That's all they would have to do, I think. Just like do like an unsuppressed group and then do like a group with the silencer on it. That's what I mean. I'm sure they've done that. Haven't they done that? I would think a silencer manufacturer would do that. So they probably have. Then why are we hearing all these things? I don't know. Again, I asked for people. I actually asked for a dude. I asked for people to send me stuff after the last episode. There was one guy who sent me something, and he didn't have problems, or didn't seem to. I mean, his shooting wasn't the best. I mean, he did okay. It looked like it might have tightened his groups up. So I was like, okay, maybe it changes harmonics a little bit. I mean, it's a really light silencer, but I don't know. That Q Trash Panda versus Nomad TI. That's gonna be the age-old question now because all the marketing. But I mean, let me just on sound alone, the Nomad TI is gonna be quieter, dude, like by a lot. But on the ARs, I'd go Trash Panda probably if I was constrained to those two, probably. Unless the Subsonic 300 Blackout AR, I'd probably go Nomad TI. Yeah, that's what I would do. That'd be a good idea, actually. I think Honey Badger, put a Nomad TI in the Honey Badger. Do that. That'd probably be a pretty good time for you, I think. Okay, that's a good way to end that. A controversial statement that'll not really buy me any political capital. Okay, topic 3 at a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 54 seconds. Oh my God. That day, Jay lost all his friends. Welcome to all the new PEW Science members and the R&D clients that help us continue this journey. And we're gearing up for some field testing, guys. If it would just stop raining, and it was thunderstormy when I started recording this. I'm looking outside right now. It's dark. It's not even supposed to be dark yet, and it's dark. Man, the amount of rain has been insane. The sun will come out soon. It's gonna be awesome. A lot of stuff on deck for you folks. So thank you to the PEW Science members who have recently joined. You guys are helping make this testing possible. You really are. A lot of this testing I do, I'm able to do it because of you. Thank you to our R&D clients. You know who you are. I'm not going to mention you right now. Thank you for trusting PEW Science for your third-party testing and validation needs. I do sincerely mean that. Okay, I am thrilled and honored to have you as clients. It's important, and it's fantastic that I can help you. I'm itching to do some more testing. I do have a lot more data to show you guys in the meantime. I still have so many things to show you. But frankly, I'm getting antsy, and I've worked up an appetite for like some really fresh data, and so I'm going out in the field soon. I just am. Okay. So thanks for your patience. Thank you for all of your interest and your support. So until next time, always keep those questions coming. Okay, social media. We have such a repository of questions now. I'm going to flag this one actually. I'm going to hit the little heart button in my app, so I can know I ended on that one. So I mean, we should do a crazy questions episode where it's just nonstop questions, and like we do all the ones that are on Instagram, so people can hear me talk long form answers to them. And if you don't want that, tell me. You could be tech@pewscience.com. Be like, Jay, that sucks. I'm like, okay, roger that, sir or ma'am. I appreciate you. Stay safe, okay? Have a great rest of your week. Go check out this post, man. Go check out this drawing by Nathan at the CBRN Art Instagram account. Check out this post. Check out this drawing that he did. Amazing. All right? I'll talk to you folks again soon.